Okay, here we go. It's us. Just the two of us.
All right. Are you ready? We're ready.
Let's just go. Let's just go.
Okay.
Just go for it.
Welcome to the Life by Design, Not Default podcast. I'm Paige, and I'm here with my business bestie, Elaine, and we talk about all things life, business, and beyond. This podcast is for anyone who is done with the mediocre and ready to design a life that is meaningful, impactful, and fun. And our question to you always is, how are you living your life by design, not default? Hey, girl!
Hey, girl! So nice. It's just the two of us this time.
I know. We have been wanting to do this podcast for you all for a really long time because people keep asking the same question over and over and over again. So we wanted to hop on and just take some time in between the transition from 2020 to 2021 and just really give you some nitty-gritty background about who we are, how we operate, what we stand for, and what we're looking forward to in 2021. So Elaine and I both have been serving clients on our own, in our own ways for many years. And this last year, we decided to finally work together on a project. So we're dibbling and dabbling here and there. And when we finally found something that worked, we're like, mother of pearl, why have we not been doing this all along? And that is how the 8338 Collective was born.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny though, because like how it all started really was with Talk It Out Tools Day.
Yes.
Right? And Talk It Out Tools Day was something that we launched in, was it March or April?
I think April. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of 2020. And it was really, we just wanted to teach and help people figure out how to use the platforms and the systems and the tools that were available, and really helping people not want to throw their computer out the window anymore.
Or their phones.
And then it just completely morphed. And we're like, we want to do more. And it's so funny how we came up with the name. I'm still just like, it's so surreal to me still.
Yeah.
We were like talking about, every name we looked up was already taken.
Right. All the good ones. The good ones.
So mad. We're just both Googling stuff, like at the same time, looking up stuff and getting so mad that everything we came up with was already taken. And then we started going through, well, what's your personality type and then this, and then I brought up the Enneagram, but you didn't know your Enneagram, but all I knew was I was a 3. And then you took yours and were like, oh, I'm an 8 and with a 3 secondary. And then later that night, I was like going through my phone, trying to see if I could find some inspiration because I keep all kinds of notes in there. And I came across my Enneagram results that I saved into my phone. And then I look that I'm an 8 secondary. And I was like, get the F out of here. Like, how is that possible? So that truly is how we came up with the name, the 8338. Is Paige is an 8 with a 3 secondary, and I'm a 3 with an 8 secondary. And then she blew my mind when she got this book talking about the Enneagrams. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I want you to know this about me. But then I'm like, oh, yes, this is her too.
Yeah, it's me, but secondary, right?
Secondary, yeah.
So what is so interesting with our Enneagram numbers is that if you have ever taken any sort of personality test, we all know that you're never really just one of anything. Yep. It's always usually some sort of combination or a mixture, or one thing applies, or 5 things apply to you, but then 2 things don't. And this particular personality assessment, the Enneagram, appealed to me. And it appealed to me because of its directness. It was very clear. It wasn't always like super flowery. I mean, it really told you the truth about your specific personality type for assessment. And so what was so great about the Enneagram and our numbers specifically was that we were not the opposite of each other. We were more like a yin and yang, like totally complementary.
Yeah.
And that is really, really hard to find, because with my Enneagram number, I'm like, my 8 that I am as my primary, I actually rank in the very rare category of being an 8 because my percentage was so high as an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, you know, you're kind of like middle of the road, like one just wavers more than the other, but mine was so high as an 8, and then my 3 was secondary, and then her 3, and then she was 8 secondary. I'm like, shut the front door. This can't even, because we knew that we've always gotten along. We connected at an annual conference for a women's group, an international women's group that we are a part of together by a random kind of like
2016.
In 2016, a random connection activity where they tell you to stand up and talk to the person at the table next to you.
Yep.
And then we continued our relationship. We would see each other at kind of like our leadership conferences and that kind of stuff, but nothing really kind of like kicked off. But we would, you know, kind of, you know, we're always very friendly with each other and supportive of each other. But it really started taking hold. We really became friends in 2018 when we were like, girl, I need an accountability partner. And you were like, yep, I'll be your accountability partner. So we started talking to each other probably like maybe once a month, or sharing each other's things on Facebook, and still seeing each other every year at the leadership conference because we're leaders in this particular company. And I just would notice that the things that she was doing, that Elaine was doing, they were completely on point. Now, I will say this. They were not the way that I would have done them. However, they were definitely on point, and I had to give her her points and her kudos for her execution, because I am like Action Jackson over here, okay? So what's really fun about our collaboration is that she and I want the same results, but we go about it from 2 different perspectives. And that is such a bonus and a blessing for the people that we work with, because I'm not everyone's cup of tea. She's not everybody's cup of coffee. You know what I mean? But together, we're like a super dynamic duo that we can help so many people.
Yep. Yep.
So
crazy. And when you came and stayed for 5 days,
yes,
at our house, and we had our bonded over your poor laptop getting.
I lost the MacBook, y'all. I lost the MacBook.
Yep. That was
rest in peace, Goldie. Rest in peace.
Took our relationship to the next level.
A whole nother level. I mean, when you have someone that literally, I should have known that she was a keeper when my, you know, $3,000 laptop was attacked by a Mocha from Starbucks, and I was devastated because I was doing a really big project, and she runs to her car and gets her laptop to help me do the project. And luckily I had people that were on my team on the East Coast, no doubt. Now I'm in Seattle, I'm in Washington, just got off a ferry from Seattle to go and see her, and my people on the East Coast that were on my team were scrambling to help make this thing work. She runs, she grabs her laptop, she gets in there. But here's where I knew that she was probably going to be one of my best friends for life. I was literally crying in a Starbucks, and there was someone who was a missionary from Africa who was praying for me, y'all. Praying for me in the middle of the Starbucks because I was so upset and shocked and dismayed. And this girl takes a picture and posts it on Facebook. I'm like, she is my people.
Gotta get the behind the scenes shit, right?
She is totally my girl. So if you have never taken the Enneagram before, there's a bunch of assessments that are out there. Some are free, you know, most are free. We like your Enneagram coach. She has a really nice free assessment that you can take. We'll put it in the show notes. But let me just tell you a little bit about the numbers that we are. We are not advocating people to go and try to, analyze other people and you're this and you're that. That is not what we're saying, but we're saying that, you know, this particular assessment was crazy. Like for me, it resonated with me because it really did talk to my personality and my quirks and my triggers, shall I say. So that self-awareness is so important to me. It's really a tenet of how I live my life, that it was just crazy town. So Elaine is a 3. Her main is a 3, and it's the achiever. And it's like, you might be an achiever if you're an excellent mentor. You love to help people to help themselves. You have a big heart, and you do all you can to bring out the best in your family and your friends, and in everything that you work with, right? And that really does describe who Elaine is. She is also known as Elaine the Brain. One of her superpowers is all about coming up with ideas, implementation strategy, business development for her clients and for her friends. So when I read this, I'm like, that is her. However, she is very much goal oriented. Goal setting is like one of the things that she lives for, right? And achieving those goals. So that, I think, is one of the reasons why I'm like super drawn to her. So my highest number on the Enneagram was 8, and that is described as the challenger, and not in a negative way, but just bringing out the best in people. So you may be an 8 if you have a big heart. You have compassion for people who are struggling through no fault of their own. You will do everything you can to right an injustice. You have a powerful energy. Okay. You know what needs doing and you want to make it happen. Hello. And you might be afraid to show your vulnerable side. And when I read those descriptions, and of course I've done a little more research into the Enneagram than Elaine has, but it is just a crazy accurate assessment. And what's so interesting about all the different personality types when you read them, and we've done a multitude of tests just based on different job positions and roles and leadership and that kind of stuff, they all pretty much say the same thing. They all pretty much have like a breakdown, but you have to find the one that resonates the most with you. And for both Elaine and I, it was the Enneagram. So we would highly encourage you to explore that if you're looking for that type of insight and self-awareness into yourself and your personality. And it also helps you. It's not about what you can do to change other people. It's about what you can do to make yourself more accessible to working with other people and knowing what your triggers are. So we would encourage you. So that is where the name, the 8338 Collective, came from. And we really wanted to start a community, not just, we're not here just to sell stuff. That is not what we're about. We wanted to start a community where people will feel supported, they will get the education, and most importantly, the accountability to get things done and to take their businesses and their lives to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was something that it was just like everything while we were setting everything up. Nothing was forced at all. It just was so easy to put together and to say, okay, how do we want to do this? And you'd say blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yep, exactly. Like I don't know that I would have ever had such an easy business partnership.
Right.
I mean, seriously. So I think the moral of the story is find who your opposite is and partner up with them, because amazing things can happen when, like Paige was saying, like we get to the same result. We just go about it in a different way. And that is such value because it allows people to see that you can do it more than one way. Like there's more than one way to get there. It's just a matter of the approach that you take, and not every approach is going to be appealing to every person because of their personality types, right? And so I think it just makes us such a powerhouse together is because I don't even know how else to describe it. It's just like, are we the same person or what? Like, how is this even happening? How is this possible? But
But we're not the same person, and that's what I'm saying. That is the
yeah.
genius and the beauty of it all. So we each also have separate brands ourselves in our lives. So this is truly a collaboration that we are doing with the collective, and we offer think tanks and some education. Think tanks are our version of masterminds. And this podcast actually today is brought to you by our 8338 collective. We have think tanks that are starting in January of 2021, and we still have a few spots open. So we still have applications available. And we will be putting that in the show notes if you're interested. We will be hosting, Elaine will be facilitating a productivity think tank, and I will be facilitating the visibility think tank for 2021, really helping people start the year off right with where they are at. We like to help people where they're at in their journey. And so please make sure that if you are interested in joining one of our think tanks, you join us today. It is coming up. Like I said, it is a 12-week commitment to be in our think tanks. Elaine's going to be doing productivity. I'm going to be doing visibility. Like I said, we will put all of the details in the show notes if you are interested. So Elaine, I do have a question for you. Okay. Now, like I said, Elaine has a separate brand. I have a separate brand as well, business that we are each running. And Elaine's brand is called the Potty Mouth Pep Talk. It is not only a podcast, but there's also a fun, crazy subscription box that goes along with it. So, and Potty Mouth Pep Talk is the name for a reason. So, Elaine, tell us, what is your favorite curse word?
Oh, girl. So, I'm a big fan of the F word. I use fuck a lot. It just comes out of my mouth. Like, I just literally I will try to control myself when I'm doing professional things, but it's my favorite sentence enhancer.
Enhancer. I love that.
It's a sentence enhancer. But the cool thing is that you can say, fuck can be an adjective, a verb, a noun. Like, you can use it to describe anything. It's like the word dude. You can say the word dude in many different inflections and it means something completely different.
Exactly. Okay. All right.
What's yours? So here's a funny story is that I am a bad influence on Paige because when I first met her, she never cursed. And now she does. And so what is your favorite curse word now?
So here, I will say I've always cursed. However, as you just heard earlier in the podcast, I do not like to show my vulnerable side. So that must mean I really love you to show that side of me. I would, you know what? I don't know that I have a favorite curse word. I usually say things like holy guacamole, mother of pearl, all that kind of stuff. But I think maybe shit is my favorite curse word.
Okay. That was the one curse word that I ever heard my grandmother say.
Oh no.
And her little old lady, old Avon voice.
Oh man.
She was an Avon lady. She was just cute, little thing. And she'd say, oh shit, just like that. And it just makes me giggle every single time. So yeah, that was my favorite curse word too.
So let me just tell you, my husband just walked into the room and he heard me say that and he's like, isn't your favorite curse word mother of pearl? And I'm like, it is. And I've said it on this podcast today. That really is my favorite curse word. So
it's not even a curse word. It's not.
Well,
it's not considered profanity.
Okay.
Say biscuits and gravy, right? Like that was my clean version of a swear word.
Your alternative?
Biscuits and gravy, or God bless America.
Right? Please bless America at this point.
Oh Lord.
All right. So I know that you're good at so many things. Mm-hmm. As am I. Not that we're bragging, but we are. What are you not very good at?
Oh, I'm not very good at drawing.
Yeah, neither am I. That's why we pay people.
Yeah.
Shauna Stanley of Shauna Lou Creative, if you're listening.
Shauna did my logo. She did your logo. She's the shiz.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm not good at drawing. I wanted to be a good drawer, but I just am not. Now, painting, on the other hand, like
okay,
my little painting. This is my little painting right here, my little peacock. I did that. My little peacock there. But otherwise, I think painting, I like painting because it doesn't have to be perfect. And if I'm drawing, it has to be perfect because I'm a tiny bit of a perfectionist. But paint really allows you to cover up your mistakes.
Right. Okay.
You can cover up your mistakes with paint. So, but yeah, drawing, I'm not very good at that. And so that always frustrated me because I wanted to be a good drawer, but I'm just not.
Okay.
Also, not a huge fan of doing my own taxes. I could sit here and calculate other people's numbers for them and figure out what they need in order to make income and whatever, but to do the tax process, like I would rather stab myself in the eye. So those are the things that I'm not good at.
Okay. Very good.
What are you not good at?
Art, like you said, I'm not good at that. All forms and genres. That is why I send my little boy to art camp every summer, except this summer. He didn't get a chance to go because it was not in session. And I am not the best parallel parker.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I can parallel park like nobody's business. I'm
See?
just saying. Right?
I'm not.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny. So, do you have any tattoos?
Absolutely not.
And I'm covered in tattoos.
Yes, you have tons of artwork on you.
That is see the yin and yang here, right? I just love it. Oh my gosh, so funny. What's your favorite food?
Besides French food or
any food? Like what's your last meal? You're on death row and you get one last meal. What's it going to be?
My last meal is going to be chips and salsa.
I do love me some chips and salsa. I need mashed potatoes and gravy. Just so like Thanksgiving comes, right? And I just put all the gravy on the plate and it's just like it goes with everything. I put it on all the stuff. And so it's always the joke of make sure there's extra mashed potatoes and gravy for Elaine because I just make a big old mountain of it. I love it so much.
That is funny.
Yeah.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, I wanted to be, so this is funny, but I wanted to do several things. One of them was I wanted to be in the fashion industry, and I actually got accepted into FIDM, but I didn't get to go because I got knocked up. And so I decided that probably raising a baby in San Francisco while I'm a college student probably wasn't a very good idea. But then I learned it was a blessing in disguise because had I actually known what a fashion buyer was, which is what I wanted to do, I probably would not have really enjoyed that job because it deals a lot with math. Go figure. So, but I also wanted to be an interior decorator. I wanted to be a florist, but then I was like, there's too many choices with floral arrangements. And I was like, nope. So, I never said when I wanted to be, I was a photographer for 10 years, never thought that would ever be a part of my life. It kind of happened by accident. And it's just because I love to create stuff. I was going
to say, you're all things creative for sure.
I love to create stuff. I love to make stuff. I'm like the female version of MacGyver. Like I will figure out how to make anything work. It's like, okay, what do I have that I can use to fix that or to make that fit on that thing? And, that's just what I do. I can't help myself. Like I MacGyvered the other day as I was deconstructing my office in order to put together the Christmas gift that my mother-in-law and my daughter got me. So I have these long hanging like shelf things that go in the closet, right? And this little divider thing that I got, they were too long. And so I'm like, I need a binder clip. And I found myself some binder clips in order to, I just MacGyvered it, right? Like, that's what I do.
Your brain is always going, always to the rescue, for sure.
What did you want to be?
So I was pretty well convinced that I was going to be a forensic pathologist. And for those of you, this was and I wanted to be like Quincy, which was a TV show with Jack Klugman. He lived in California on a houseboat, and, he solved cases like the bubonic plague that happened in LA and all that kind of stuff. So this was all pre-CSI, before it was cool to do that. It's basically a medical examiner. And because I love solving puzzles and brain teasers. So I actually have a minor in biology, a double major, French International Business, and a minor in biology, because that's what I wanted to do. And I thought that I would do that. And then I studied abroad in France. I've been speaking French since I was 5, and studied abroad in France, fell in love with everything of all those years that I had dedicated to learning the language and the culture, and I never looked back. So,
okay,
look at that.
There you go. So, what is something that you really want to do what's on your bucket list? Like, what's one big thing that's on your bucket list?
One of the things that's on my bucket list is to get an RV and travel around the country with my husband and my son, and just really explore some fun places and do some fun things, and have some family time. That is my thing. But here's the thing. I don't want just any old RV. I want an RV like the country stars have, because I'm fancy.
Right.
So I need to have Wi-Fi. I need to have a nice shower.
No hillbilly RV then.
No hillbilly RV. However, I would don't even get me started on Pinterest. I need to revisit it over the weekend here. But I would love to have a schoolie. Do you know what a schoolie is?
No.
It's where you take an old school bus and you convert it into a RV or mobile home type.
Interesting.
Yes, I would love to do that. To have a schoolie, because one of the smaller buses, because you can drive it in more places and all that kind of stuff. I would love that. Now that I would do.
Okay. All right.
But it'll be fancy.
Of course it's going to be fancy. I would expect nothing less. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. What else would I want to ask you? So, what sound or noise do you love?
I absolutely adore the sound of my son laughing hysterically at something.
Yep.
Of what, I don't even know what he's laughing at, but sometimes when he's watching YouTube or he's in the other room watching a show, he just cracks himself up. And I think that is the best sound in the world.
Yes, I would agree with that. So Anthony's room is kitty corner, right next to this wall, and he would playing video games with his friends or something, and that boy would just start belly laughing, and it would make me because I could hear him through the walls, and he would get so upset and so giddy about whatever it was. It just made me laugh so hard. But I will tell you the sound that I hate the most.
Ooh, what's that?
I cannot stand to hear.
I already know.
People chewing their food.
And eating. Yeah, I know.
So the reason that my family is still alive is because we have a Bluetooth speaker at the dining room table. And so I put on music to listen to drown out the sound of their chewing, especially if we're having soup. In order to keep my family alive, it's what we had to do. Because I literally want to stab somebody. Like and the dog eating, or the dog, and she's a pug, so she's very noisy. She sounds literally like a pig eating in her trough.
Yes.
Or the sound of her licking. Oh my God, like I'm going to explode.
So since we're talking like pet peeves, I will tell you what one of my pet peeves. Actually, I have a few, go figure, if you could believe that. But my number one pet peeve is when someone curses and they say, "Excuse my French." You are not speaking French. I have spent over 20,000 hours learning how to speak French correctly, and you are not speaking French. So do not say that as a phrase.
Oh my gosh. Where did that even come from?
The British. It's okay.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. That is so funny. That is so funny. So I know, for those of you, so Paige mentioned that we have our own little separate brands. And so her brand is Paris by Paige. How many times have you been to Paris?
I have, I've lost count, but I have probably been to Paris at least in my lifetime. So, well, let's try to calculate, shall we? So there's only been 3 years that I haven't been to France, and that's including this year in 2020. Yeah. And I started going when I was 19 years old. So I've been going there. I've been going there at least once a year for 28 years. And there are times where I would go 6 times a year. So I would probably say we're coming around to like 100 times that I've been to France and or Paris. Like straight up number.
Wow.
So this year has been really difficult for me not being able to go there, going from 6 times a year to 3 times a year up until last year. And then last year I went twice, and then this year none. So yeah, it's been really interesting, to say the least.
I hope we get to go in June. Like that is.
I hope we do. That's the plan. Fingers crossed, everyone.
I know.
I do an annual trip to Paris, the Splendor of Paris tour in June, every single year. So hopefully we get a chance to go.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit more about visibility and why that is so important to you, and how did you get started? What made you decide you wanted to kind of do that and help other people with it?
So I think that visibility is one of those things that everyone wants, but not everybody wants to do the things to get you there.
Yeah.
Kind of like, everyone wants to be in shape, but if you aren't going to go to the gym every day, or you aren't going to eat right, and you aren't going to, have a balanced mindset, it just won't happen. And I think with visibility, what I find is that we know lots of great people who can help lots of other people with their skill sets and their talents, yet they're too scared to step into it and to lean into it because of what other people are going to say about them.
Yep.
And so I love helping clients get over that hump, first of all, referring them to people like you who work on mindset and strategy, and helping them to have the techniques and skills and tactics to be able to just simply execute. It's kind of like muscle memory without even thinking about it. Like, what your task is going to be, so you act on it. So I find that a lot of people aren't as visible as they could be because they don't know how to do it. And that's where I come in. I love taking difficult concepts, new concepts with tech and software, and breaking it down into a format that people will be able to easily use and handle and do themselves.
Yeah. What is your number one tip that you give that is like, boom, dynamite?
Gosh, I have so many tips.
I know.
I would say my number one tip is a branded hashtag for yourself. Everyone should have a hashtag that they are searchable by, because hashtags are searchable on pretty much all the platforms. Of course, some platforms weigh it more than others, but having a branded hashtag is probably my number one tip. Yeah. That you use in all your content, whether you are producing content, whether you're a guest on someone else's content, that you always use your own branded hashtag.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I think that's super important. Super important.
Can I give another one?
Yeah, go for it.
I think another one is that you don't have to be everywhere.
Yes. Right?
You don't have to be everywhere. You need to be in the one. I always tell my clients that you can do one of two things. You can be where your clients are, because those are the people who hopefully are going to help support your business by, hiring you or purchasing your product. So be where your clients are. And second of all, be where you enjoy, right? And if the two are the same, gangbusters, that's fantastic. But if not, you need to be in both of those places so that you can continue to enjoy the output and the content that you're putting out there, but that your clients are still getting value from what you're sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. That's so important. I think it's, we get, as business owners, we think we have to do all the things, be all the things, and it's impossible.
Yes.
It's absolutely impossible. And so, I love the concept of, doing one thing really well,
right,
versus doing 90 things really shitty. Like, do one thing really well and let that be your thing, instead of trying to be perfect at 100 things.
Yeah, The One Thing is the book that I love the most. It's the one that I recommend. It's called The One Thing. And I also think that people should be doing the thing that moves the needle the most for them.
Yeah. Because if you're excited about the platform and you're excited about it, that energy comes through. And if you are not enjoying the platform, your energy is not going to, if you like, I always say, I love TikTok. I think the platform is hilarious. People are so creative.
Yes.
I go as I enjoy consuming the content. When I need to laugh or have an attitude adjustment, I will go and just scroll on TikTok. But I am not a huge content creator on TikTok. Right. Because that's just not my jam, but I love to consume the content there. Right. I love, for me, I love Facebook groups. That is right. Where I thrive, is because it's the one place that I get to wing it, because I'm a huge proponent of not winging it when you are creating content. And my Facebook group is the one place where I can go wing it. And right. I just post whatever is on my mind that day, and whatever question I have burning inside of me, I go onto my Facebook group, and that's where we can have that dialogue. And I love that.
Yeah, it's always nice to have an outlet for that. I mean, you and I both are, very much about planning the content, not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Unless you're a spaghetti chef, then that works. However, we all are not. And no, I get that. And I see that in you. I mean, I see that you're super energized when you're in the Facebook group and all of that. And we all need that kind of place, right?
Yeah. Yep. I think it's so important.
So yeah. So before I let you go, what is your favorite 90s jam? Because I know you're a 90s baby girl. What's your favorite 90s jam?
Oh, we were just rocking out yesterday to the 90s hip hop during dinner last night. So, oh my gosh, there's so many. How are you trying to make me choose? Oh my God. Okay. So the one that always makes me, that's 80. Okay. So that was the 80s jam. My 90s jam would probably have to be California Love.
Okay.
Tupac, because every single time that it comes on, my hand starts moving like I'm in a Impala, because my dad had an Impala when I was growing up. Right. But that's hip hop. Now, if we're talking about, because I'm a rocker girl, I love rock music. And so I was so Bon Jovi and I were married.
Were you now?
When I was in the
You
fifth
were?
grade, we were married.
Wow. Okay.
You know,
That sounds a little illegal, but all right.
yes, but he was my husband. We were married in a little ceremony on the playground. Don't tell his wife.
I won't.
Yeah. So Bon Jovi was always like I loved
Yeah.
Bon Jovi. My dad made me a tape. I had a cassette tape that had one side was Bon Jovi and the other side was Heart.
Oh, I love Heart.
I know, and I just love them too. Like they were, and so my friend and I, we named our Cabbage Patch dolls, Nancy Ann.
Mm.
For Nancy and Ann, we combined their names.
Yes, yes.
And we would just walk down the street singing all the Heart songs because they're like having female musicians, right? Was like, oh my God, we could grow up to be singers. Like just having those people to look up to was really cool because most rock was men, right? And so it was really cool to be able to have like that, you know, inspiration. But another 90s jam that will always get me going is Bye 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 from NSYNC. Like if that's playing in the supermarket, watch out because I am gonna be, you know, doing my little hand motions there.
Hand motions and all.
And all. Yeah. What about
Fantastic.
you? What about you?
You know, the 90s, I was in the club.
Dancing it up.
Dancing it up. In college and in the club. So one of my favorite bands or songs was Groove is in the Heart by D-Light.
Oh my goodness. That whistle.
So there was that. And then there was You Can't Touch This by the MC Hammer.
The Hammer Pants.
Yes. I believe I have a pair. So thank goodness there was no Facebook or Instagram back in the day because there would have been documented proof. But I think my mom probably has a camera or a picture of me in those Hammer Pants. So just some of those kind of things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's awesome. So fun. So fun.
So crazy.
I'm so glad we got to do this because, you know, we talk all day, every day.
Yes, we do.
Yes. And so I was like, we need to do something that is kind of like the story about us and how everything came to be. So that we can, you know, it's just, I think it's important people know like the history and the story and like, this is not just an overnight thing. Like this has been a long time in the making. You know?
This has been a long time in the making, and we both love if any of the listeners want to really know a little bit about us. We both have favorite TV shows that we love.
Yes.
And when I say love, I mean love. So that will be we'll save that for another episode of the Life Beyond Life Beyond Everything. Life by Design Not Default podcast. Maybe you can send us a message. You can send us a message on Spotify and Anchor. Tell us what you think our favorite TV shows are. We would love to hear what you have to say. You can just go right to our page and leave us a message, and it'd be great to hear what you all say, and then we will reveal that in another podcast. How about that?
Yes. Yeah, if people know me, they know what it is.
Well, if people know me, they know as well.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of new listeners out there. So
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, well, darling, this has been fun.
This has been fantastic. Once again, if you are interested in accountability, mindset, and education, Be sure to check out our details in the show notes for not only our think tanks that we're going to be having, which are our version of the masterminds, as well as our 8338 collective. It is a wonderful and supportive and education community membership online. All the details will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you again. And don't forget, we want to know how you are living your life by design, not default. Take care.
Bye, guys.